Today I'm joined by Assistant Provincial Grand Master David Bird. He's just been made the Assistant Provincial Grand Master for Lincolnshire at the Provincial Grand Lodge meeting of Lincolnshire in May 2023. Thanks for joining me today, David.
My pleasure.
David, I'd like to talk to you about how you became a Freemason, how you've gone up through the ranks, what you love about Freemasonry, and what your remit is going forward, and what not only you would like from the lads in Freemasonry, but what they can expect from you in return. How's that sound? Is it okay?
Yeah, fine.
So, David, as I said, you've just been made Assistant Provincial Grand Master. Was that a surprise to you?
Very much, yes. I was Deputy Grand Superintendent, and I knew...
For those people that don't know what that is, what does that mean?
Right, I was second under David, the Grand Superintendent, David Wheeler. And
in the Royal Arch?
In the Royal Arch, yes.
So the Royal Arch, you were number 2 in that, because in Lincolnshire, whoever's in charge of the craft is in charge of Royal Arch. Yep. Good stuff. So how long have you been doing that job for?
Well, when I finished, it was 7 years. So I knew that would be coming to an end soon. And so I thought that would be it. And I could sort of step back and have a bit more time. But
your wife would get to see you a bit more.
But it was quite a surprise when the Grand Superintendent called me in and said, that was last September, I would like you to relinquish your position as deputy, which I said, right, yeah, you're in charge, but I'd like you to take on Assistant Provincial Grand Master. And I sat there with my mouth open. I couldn't believe it. I thought I'd gone as far as I could in craft. I was honoured with the grand rank of past junior Grand Deacon a couple of years ago, and I thought that was it. I thought I couldn't get any higher. So when Dave offered me that, he said, do you want to talk to the wife and think about it? I said, no, I'll have it.
Well, you'd never get asked twice, would you?
No. In Masonry, if you're offered a job, you take it.
How have you been able to balance Freemasonry and personal life?
Well, personal life, I was busy. I built my own business. I was in the motor trade for 50 years, thoroughly enjoyed it. But I found that going to Masonry, I was busy at work, but when I got into the lodge, sometimes I didn't feel like going, but when I got there, I was among friends. I totally forgot about my problems at work. I was with friends, and
it is really like going completely different, isn't it? You've got your family, you've got the work, and then you go to this place where you walk around a room holding a stick and saying your lines.
Yeah.
Because you must have been good at it, because you were provincial DC for many years, weren't you?
Yeah. I started as Assistant Director of Ceremonies in Chapter. Had that for a year, and then I got Deputy DC in Chapter, and I had that for 4 years. Then I was made DC, which I had 6 years in Chapter, and then I got made DC in Craft for another 6 years, and finished that and was made Deputy.
When did you become a Freemason? I know you're part of St Peter 7648 in Cleethorpes.
Yeah.
On the lovely seafront there.
Yeah.
Beautiful view over the harbour. Were you asked to join Freemasonry?
Yeah, 2 clients. I was 22. I started in the motor trade at 19, and I'd only been selling cars for about a year. And I sold one, a Triumph 2000, brand new, white it was. And the other one bought a brand new Rover 2000 off me. Lovely old guys. And they must have been 2 years later, they walked into the showroom together and said, write this letter to our lodge in Cleethorpes. We want you to join Freemasonry. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what Freemasonry is. Look, son, just write this letter. I like the 2 guys. I've totally respected them, so I did as they said. Forgot all about it. I met the wife. I married my wife, and 4 years later, I got a letter to come to an interview.
4 years
later? In those days, it was a 5-year wait. And so I then got an interview 4 years later and got in 5 years after sending my original letter off. But I'd forgotten about it. I was busy, I was living on my own, enjoying life, met a girl, married her, and then a letter came a year later after getting married for an interview. And I said to the wife, I can't remember what this is about. And then it clicked. Went to the interview, and I was initiated in February 1980 at 27.
How has Freemasonry changed in those 40
well,
years?
I remember you weren't taught to a provincial officer, never mind a Grand Lodge officer. It's totally different. You didn't speak to them, and they, seriously, it's more, it's friendlier.
Do you think we almost turned in on ourselves too much
Yes.
after the war, and then almost had a hangover and didn't let go?
Yeah.
Do you like the way Freemasonry's going? You know, we've got a new boss, we've got the 7-year strategy nationally.
I do. And I think it's great that he's put this strategy in. I could see Masonry slowly declining in some lodges. Some lodges no. Some lodges had it right and they kept the numbers high, but a lot are declining, and it shows it throughout the country. It's slowly. If you think, I know lodges that 10 years ago have halved in number, and something needed to be done about it, and it's so good he's actually done this. I know this first year he's getting things right, and then 2 years after that of getting 1% increase, and then 3 years of 2%, and I hope it happens. And I know the way that we're working in Lincolnshire, I'm sure it will.
You've got quite a big portfolio under your remit. The first one is quite conveniently membership under the responsibility of Mike Clay. Where do you see membership going in Lincolnshire, and what responsibilities do individual brothers and also lodge membership officers need to do to improve things and get more people in? The right people, though.
That's it. Getting the right people in the lodges doing that job. Some lodges with lack of numbers are just putting a name there and nothing's happening. Mike Clay's in charge and he's absolutely brilliant. He's doing a wonderful job of it, and if somebody from the internet comes along, he interviews and makes sure they're right, and then finds out the lodge, the area and so that would suit them. Mike's doing a great job of it.
He's absolutely fantastic.
But the problem is, as I say, some lodges haven't got a membership committee. This membership committee, they should have the membership officer, the almoner, the charity steward, and maybe the master and the DC meeting regularly to make sure those that have got in are looked after.
That's the big one, isn't it? You've got it. It's quite easy to bring them in, but there's so many leave.
If they don't look after them, they're going to be out. If you think about when they're initiated that night, the centre of attraction, everything is around them. They come the next month later,
and they know what? No one knows them.
Nobody, you know, if they've come from the internet, especially, and they haven't got a friend in that lodge, they're left alone, and it's wrong. They should the mentor that they've got should be there looking after them. The membership officer should be making sure it happens, because it's all right getting them in. It's all right it's like when I was in the motor trade. You could spend a fortune on advertising, but if you didn't have the right salesman talking to that guy, you wasted your money. And we've got to sort it out. Once they're in, they're looked after. Some will want to go on the floor and do work. Some will just want to sit there and watch. They've got to be talked to and figured out what they want to do with it. Because it's so daunting when you see somebody stand there and do a big piece. I'll never do that. I remember thinking myself, they'll never do that. I'll never go up there and be Provincial Master, but slowly you build up that confidence, and it helps you so much with your confidence.
It does, doesn't it?
And standing up and, like me sat here in front of you now, if it wasn't for Masonry, I wouldn't be able to sit in front of you now.
That you'd have been fine. Let's move on and talk about your second remit, which is communications under the skillful guide of Stuart Pearson.
Well, Stuart is wonderful. The way he puts things together, a great guy, knows what he's doing. I was so chuffed for him to get to Grand Lodge this year, and it was good to be, to see him get that. Wonderful man, and he's also got Simon doing the chisel. I know Simon would like to pass that on. in time, if we can get the right person to do it. But I know Simon said that he'll stick with it until we've got the right guy, which, but he's another good guy.
Exceptional. He's co-presenter with myself and Pete on the
Right.
podcast.
So you know him well.
I do know him very well, and we've committed to doing at least 21 episodes. Yeah, that's if we do 21 episodes, we'll be in the top 1% of all world podcasts. Did you know that?
Brilliant.
And
You've got to do it then.
well, I've already promised the PGM, but you don't know this, but you're coming on one of the next ones.
Thank you.
If you can sit there, you can come on. You can do a podcast. Peter Brooks did it in the first one. He was fine. You do Zoom calls, don't you?
I hate them.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate.
Big tip for you on Zoom calls, by the way.
Yeah.
Go to the top right-hand corner, 3 little dots. Press that. Little menu drops down. Hide self-view. That's it. There you go. This is what Freemasons are all about, helping out. If you switch off your self-view, your confidence levels and your happiness will go through the roof.
Because I hate seeing myself.
Exactly, because your subconscious is keeping an eye on you. Therefore, your conscious is so therefore by switching the self-view off, you will be so much more relaxed.
Because when we were doing Zoom during
Awful.
COVID, I hated it.
Yeah. So please, 3 little dots, hide self-view. You will be a million times happier.
Oh, right. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank
All the tricks of the trade. Jason Fitzgerald working on mentoring.
Yes.
Top chap is Jason.
Oh, yes. He worked under Dave Buckingham for quite a while. So he knows the job, but he's new into it from May. But it'll be wonderful. I've got an easy job with this taking over from Peter Brooks as assistant, because in place are great guys who they're so enthusiastic and know what they're doing.
Excellent. Everyone says that everyone should be a mentor in the lodge. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, they are. Definitely. We should all the time, all of us, keeping an eye, and if we see somebody in the corner or somebody hasn't turned up, we should be ringing them. We should all the time. We're all mentors. It's that's part of Masonry, isn't it?
We've got the wonderful Nick Brown in learning and development.
Yes.
And he's doing so much, not only for
He's too
Lincolnshire,
busy.
but also he's nationally as well.
He is. He's busy. He's got so much.
Why is learning? I mean, again, they Freemasonry, a daily progression in your Masonic career and education. How important do you think Solomon has been in aiding that?
Oh, it has. It's just getting the right page on there, finding it.
That's it. It's almost
it's finding it. But once you get on there, I've learned things. All right, I've been saying a word or saying a paragraph, not knowing what it meant. But you go on Solomon.
I love it when the way that why there's a black and white tessellated, and actual, not the one that's in the ritual book, but actually going deeper. I just love stuff like that.
Yeah, I do.
Moving on, I'd like to just touch on, you've got big boots to fill after Peter Brooks.
Yes.
What are you going to bring to the party in Lincolnshire, helping these guys out and ultimately the brethren by you being the Assistant Provincial Grand Master?
Well, I'm hoping that I can help them if they've got a problem that they can't solve, that they will come to me and I will try my damnedest to sort it for them. Because I go around the other provinces as well as assistant, and you pick up things. And I'm hoping that while I'm at these other 10 provinces we visit, that I can pick up ideas to help them during the period I've got this position. I don't know how long this position will be. My patent's 2 years. My patent for Deputy Grand Superintendent was 2 years, but that ended up 7. But I'll do it as long as the Provincial Grand Master wishes me to do so.
Final question. In the ceremony, it says that the first place you knew you were wanted to be a Freemason was in your heart. When did the penny drop that you loved Freemasonry?
When I joined Masonry, being in the motor trade, I didn't trust anybody. I didn't trust the clients. I didn't trust the people I worked with. You had the trade. They would try and get one over on you all the time. And when I joined Masonry, these guys were so nice. And I thought there was a motive. I thought there was some reason they were so nice to me that something they weren't. I realized these were lovely people. And it took me a couple of years to realise that Freemasons, most of them, are wonderful people, kind, and they meant what they were saying to me when I came in, and they cared. And I realised what a wonderful organisation. For 10 years, I was the youngest in my lodge, and I was like the baby to them, and they really looked after me until somebody came in younger than me. And it was, and I wish those two guys were still alive who brought me in, and see where I've got to. They saw something in me when I was 22.
I'm sure they're sitting up there in the Grand Lodge in the sky.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. But now, after 43 years, there's only one guy been in my lodge longer than me. And I keep thinking of all those lovely guys who were there, who aren't with us anymore. Yeah.
But isn't it our job to pass it on almost as a legacy to the next generation?
Yeah.
And then
And I think the way that the Program Master has put this 7-year strategy in, to make sure it's there for the future generations and for them to experience what I have, because it's wonderful. And I'm so pleased that I got into it. And there are other guys out there who do not know anything about us, who are nice chaps.
Because we're almost our worst own enemy, aren't we? That
Yeah.
we don't go out there and shout about it.
And those two guys saw something in me. And what if a Mason saw something in a chap and thought, yeah, say something. Because if those two guys hadn't spoken to me, I wouldn't know anything about it. Yeah, Masonry is wonderful. Whoever thought it all those years, hundreds of years ago, it's great. And I'm so pleased and proud to be a member of it.
Thank you for your time today, David.
My pleasure.